Hey everybody, Joey Boy here, the Joey you can trust, back with a Walking Dead Road Survive video, featuring the 4th human shield, and as for the red guys, they're first. Ajax. With a name like Ajax, this dude has to be a beast. It's like Jax with an A before it, and, oh, my, your eyes. They're beautiful. Holy shit, are you turning me gay?
Ha! Gay!
Not gonna lie, you're pretty phonogenic, to the point where I think we're gonna start calling you Mr. Phonage. Oh, you're one of the village people. Makes sense now. My initial thoughts on this survivor was, incoming Ajax gate. So if we were to take a look at the base stats compared to other human shields, I think we can see something that is somewhat awkward here. What I mean is, tanks, by definition, should have their highest base stat be defense. You can easily see this with the current lineup of tanks here, as I have all the survivors in order of role being tanks, and then ranked the defense stat from highest to lowest. And no other role comes close to tanks defense. You will see some survivors who have higher health than defense, but those are usually survivors who have a defensive leadership skill buff, so the assumption they will be used as a leader will be in their design, as well as specialist skills too, such as Indomitable and Hold the Line, which buffs defenses, so the initial base stats will need to reflect this. Personally, I think Ajax should have been 1412 attack, 1733 defense, and 1688 health. Scopely, I think you need to stop letting interns put in the values. So let's jump over to the character card of the construction worker. That is one of the village people. I am pretty sure we are all familiar with how human shield works, and if you are not, then God help you. His adrenaline rush is ridicule and restore, and man do I love the name of this adrenaline rush. It makes perfect sense. Talking shit for taunting, ridicule. And he heals himself, restore. I don't even need to read the adrenaline rush to get an idea of what it does. That's how good the name is. So good job whoever did that. As for the nitty-gritty of the adrenaline rush, we have a human shield where we want the human shield to adrenaline rush. So very good design on the mechanics for whoever thought of this. Ideally, human shielding is a poor man's taunt. It forces them to attack a specific survivor, but we don't lock them down on their abilities, so they have the ability to work around it. This adrenaline rush, it taunts 3, which will suppress those 3 for a turn from any actives or adrenaline rushes, while at the same time healing Ajax to pretty much full HP. As for the damage output, that shit is laughable. Nobody is putting any offensive stat mods on this guy besides health and defense stat mods because it's a human shield. Keyword shield. He gets Elusive and Pain Split for 2 turns from his active skill. The Elusive, yes, nailed it for a human shield. Pain Split, I'm having a hard time finding a place for it, but mechanically it still makes sense. If you use it on your attack team and command him turn 2, then you have removed any chances of them using an adrenaline rush turn 2, even if they run a command, so long as you don't fill their AP bar up from taking damage on turn 1 or turn 2. If he was to use his active skill turn 2 on your defense team, then he is not doing his job. This is why I'm not a fan of the active having Pain Split, as I think a 1 or 2 survivor taunt or confuse for 1 turn is a more mechanically sound synergetic approach for human shields. Basically, what Princess has for an active skill is ideal. I expect future human shields to get Elusive in some sort of CC mechanic in the future. As for his weapon, this is an interesting one. You can keep the defense, and now it's either AP when taking damage versus HP, and then there's Reflect versus Stun. I would say if you don't have a healer on your team, and you plan on using Ajax on offense, then Ajax with AP when taking damage might be a better option, but if you're going to run a healer with Ajax and use him mainly on defense, it would make sense to put HP on his weapon. It's pretty easy now to get a healer, especially if you are going for Red Zeke in the Season League store or Rosita from the Survival Road missions. More HP is more chances for reflect damage. More defense and health is good, so when you take an enormous hit that can be reflected, you can kill your attacker and still be alive to potentially kill another one if we choose to leave the reflect on the weapon. Now, as for reflect versus stun, for the last weapon mod, at first I thought stun all day day, but then I took a closer look at the reflect damage. It isn't the normal 80% we get from the armory. This is 150% reflect damage, which is almost double than what we've been dosed with. If you are lucky enough to get a gold reflect combat mod and get it close to max, then you can reach levels of reflect never seen before. And if anyone uses a double attack weapon and or double attack adrenaline rush, then they're dead. Ha! Here's what is interesting. If you leave the reflect on this weapon, and you have other survivors with nasty defending weapon mods such as Impair, Stun, Confuse, etc., when taking damage, looking at a reflect duder will probably seem to be the safest approach. But when all 5 people are unleashed on Ajax, and then find themselves dead to half-life, they will probably wish they picked another route instead. Dwights, Conrads, and survivors similar to them, with double attack weapons that are really good for them and their adrenaline rushes are basic attacks, will struggle with Ajax if reflect is to be kept on the weapon. If you think reflect is bunk as shit and you want to go for stun, I think that's also a solid choice as well. Just know everyone and their mother, brother, sister, cousin, dad has a good bit of stun resist combat mods. What I fear if this route is taken is that 3 blues with double attack weapons can make quick work of him turn 1. And just use a recover stun on turn 2. If we are to compare the first 2 turns with stun and reflect, we can see reflect can cause a little bit more pressure, as if you get a kill while you're actually defending, then you honestly can't beat that situation. Someone dead or almost dead compared to being stunned? So to wrap up the weapon for Ajax, I'm going to go with, if I was to get Ajax, I would go with 40% defense, 30% HP, and I would keep the reflect. Combat mods for Ajax are going to be more on the defensive side of things. You are going to want a defense set compared to a health set. Why? Because human shields swipe right, which is a defensive stance giving survivors who do this a 50% defense buff that stacks with other buffs. This is why during turn 1, and then you go and slap a human shield up, you will notice you do more damage to the human shield turn 1 than if you were to attack them turn 2. Because once the human shield is activated, that 50% defense buff is then applied. So since we get this awesome defense buff, we prioritize defense set compared to a health set, as this would give us more effective health when it comes to raw damage. As for the individual combat mods themselves, I would go with a defense combat mod since it is a tank role survivor. Defense first blue because of blue double attack weapons, and they have a trade advantage. Stun resist, as he gets confused or taunted, he can still gain AP to unleash his taunt adrenaline rush. If he is impaired, he can still human shield. If he is stunned, rip weapon mod, potential adrenaline rushes, and actives. A reflect combat mod to add more to his weapon if you decide to keep the reflect, if you are concerned with double attack weapons and high attack stat rating teams to where they have piss poor defense. If you decide to run Graze, I think you should run stun on his weapon. We don't want to neuter the damage so much that his 150% reflect damage doesn't lose its thunder. And for the wild card, I would go with health. More health, more chances to stay alive, more chances to reflect damage. Before moving on to the team comps, let's quickly talk about some counters if you are to face off against this Ajax. The first and most obvious is bringing a disarm. Disarm Michonne will do wonders here, as the stun or reflect on the weapon will not affect her, and she can shut it down for your team. Next, if you don't have a disarmer, then I would recommend people with focus, such as Neutralize Lori, Guardian 2 Herschel, Blue Barker, Connor, and the new follow-up specialist Morgan, so you can ignore Ajax when he does his human shield and taunting adrenaline rush. Also, turn 2 crowd control actives, such as Sadiq with Confuse, can be useful as well. Onward to the team comes. We're going to do 1 attack team and 3 defense teams. For attack, we will go with a Spencer leader to get attack so that we can apply enough pressure to make our enemies pop. And the defense part of the leadership skill to go with Ajax, as we will funnel all the damage to him. We will lead the turns with our disarmers. we will command Spencer for his Adrenaline Rush to apply defense down for easier kills. Or if you don't have to command Spencer, you can command your Disarmor or Decapitate to output some serious damage. Sadiq has a Confuse active for damage control. Ajax can use his active and be commanded to Human Shield on turn 2 to halt any AP gain, giving you a monster advantage for turn 3. In the situation where your team happens to get stunned, dun 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 dun, have no fear, Spencer will clear. Let's wrap up the attack team, and now let's move to our 3 defense teams. First defense team, we will rock a Rainbow Leader Zeke and bring in 3 out of the 4 colors here. We have 3 survivors in which, if we are to combine them, we get heals, bonus HP, defense buffs, revives, and clear all penalties. Bringing a command will make sure we can get one of these 3 popping turn 2, which is ideal for a defense timeout team. If you don't bring a focus versus team and you don't keep Ajax on a leash, then you will have to forfeit turn 2, which means the damage done on turn 1 will be for nothing, as Zeke, Dante, or Mackenzie will be commanded to use their Adrenaline Rush on turn 2. Once your team reaches this cycle, it becomes extremely hard to kill. For our second defense team, we take a more rock-solid approach, sacrificing Rainbow Team Leader and going full range compared to the first. Erica for her lead skill and amazing Adrenaline Rush. She has Recover Impair, so that if your team is getting shut down from impairs, using her active can make sure Mackenzie can be freed and pick up the slack to heal and remove any negative effects on us. Ajax should buy you turn 1 or turn 2 so long as focus isn't thrown at you, so that Mackenzie and Erica can start raising hell. The final choice between Dev, Andrea, and Hunter will be based on your preference. All 3 have an inherent tankiness to them, with Dev and Hunter getting Indomitable, and Andrea with Hold the Line. If Dev can land his Adrenaline Rush, the 100% bonus HP, and his reduced attack can help buy you a turn or 2 in the end, or neuter the enemy enough so that they can't kill anyone for our healing cycle to continue. Needing an extra revive, and you enjoy laughing at people when they bitch about revives? Bring Hunter. If you're looking for a more damage output and crowd control survivor, go with Hold the Line Andrea. Now, time for the final team comp. This time around, we won't have a defense and HP leader, we will only have an HP, which means this team will be squishier than the other ones, but we will try to make up for that with more CC. Princess, Ajax, and Garrett can all hold their own as they can heal themselves, so focusing them first may not be the best idea. Garrett's active for taunt, Princess's AR inactive for taunt, and Ajax taunt Adrenaline Rush should give enough crowd control to slowly dwindle the enemy team. Stun weapons from our greens and reds to hopefully proc on turns 1 or 2 to help with damage control so that AR cycles can start to begin. Princess with Indomitable to make up for the lack of defense from a leader. Rosita, if you want to give your team Impair and Stun Cleansing and Retribution 2 if she's the first to go. You can keep her AP down or go Stun for more disrupts. Violet, if you want to revive, that can only be held down through a Taunt, Stun, or Confuse. There you have it, an in-depth review of one of the village people. I never thought I would ever be saying something like that. And now an outro that speeds up the longer I talk. Thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed the video and made you laugh and forward anything positive, please give a nice karate chop to that like and subscribe button. Make sure to leave a comment down below. It's greatly appreciated. And then I'll catch you on the next video. Bye!